what's going on. Chair recognizes Representative and Vice Chair of the committee, Spanberger, for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. So I have 2 questions, and hopefully I will get to both of them. One of them is related to what it takes for the Ukrainians to win this war. And I had a very interesting conversation with a member of the Ukrainian parliament yesterday who spoke about conversations she's had with people on the front. And the question was, how can a small army fighting with Soviet equipment beat a big army fighting with Soviet equipment? And we have frequently had conversations about what type of equipment to send and when. And I recognize that there are many concerns that we and our allies have related to the advanced technology that could fall into Russian hands. But we have kind of had these conversations along the way as we have made decisions related to the Stingers and the HIMARS that have proved very, very important and useful on the battlefield. It's my understanding that there's currently a request from the Ukrainians for Leopard tanks, the German-made tanks, that they exist throughout many of our European ally nations and are available, but that there appears to be some hesitation on the part of the Germans and also potentially within our own State Department about kind of green lighting or speaking with the Germans about how valuable provision of these types of tanks could be. So I would like some comments on this. Ms. Connolly, if I could begin with you, your thoughts on where the benefit is, or the kind of what could be some of the challenges, and if you could comment on that.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman Spanberger. The definition of victory and winning, we need to enlarge that definition. It is, of course, giving Ukraine the capabilities to restore its territorial integrity and sovereignty. It's also giving it the means to economically recover. The victory will be incomplete unless we give a Marshall Plan for Ukraine to reconstruct that using Russian assets, I may hastily add. And the third part is exactly that. We have to give Ukraine the defensive capabilities to make it a porcupine that Russia cannot reinvade. We need to think about the modernization not only of the Ukrainian military, and it absolutely has to involve tanks. It has to involve, they are fighting for our freedom. We also have to, and Rebecca was absolutely right on this, thicken NATO's eastern flank. They have just wiped out their Soviet inventory of equipment. We have an opportunity of a lifetime to modernize our entire NATO eastern flank with highly interoperable equipment. U.S. defense companies, European companies are ready to do that. We don't have the production capabilities to do that. So it's not only just the equipment and the German hesitation. We need to continue to work strongly with our German colleagues to get them over their historical concerns about this, but it's going to take a whole of NATO effort to do that. We have to think about the future as we're winning today.
Okay, and I saw some nods in agreement, so I'll just take that information on and jump to my second question related to energy. And Secretary Moniz, I'm going to point this question to you. We know that several countries, such as Germany, have recently closed or announced the shuttering of their nuclear power plants. And so I'm curious, and you've touched on a variety of different things. What can the United States government do through agencies like the Development Finance Corporation to support and accelerate nuclear projects, potentially renewable projects where appropriate, kind of advanced reactor technology, some of the newer nuclear technologies that exist, so that we can get on the front side of what is this kind of ongoing or kind of impending energy crisis?
Thank you. I will focus my response on the nuclear side. I can discuss the renewables, but on the nuclear side, right now there are more issues. First, the bottom line is we have a long way to go to rebuild our presence in the nuclear supply chain. The Congress and the administration have taken positive steps. For example, supporting the deployment of 2 of the new design, so-called Generation 4 reactors. However, the Russian situation has left us with no fuel for those reactors. So the Congress is now moving, including in the IRA, with $700 million which I hate to tell you is only a start towards establishing that capability in the United States. As we do that, we need to have a global view because, first of all, in the climate context and in energy security context, a lot of countries really want to build out some more nuclear capability, carbon-free, et cetera. They really are interested in our technology, but they won't be if we cannot provide the supply chain for the fuel and the like. However, we also will not be able to develop our industry without their order book. Because for the small modular reactors, in the end, to make sense, somebody's going to have a big enough order book to invest the capital in building a factory, in having a dedicated workforce, which has been the bane of building nuclear power plants in this country. That you have, building 2 reactors in rural Georgia, it's not easy to find 2,000 electricians.
I was just having a
for
conversation
example.
about this with one of my constituents, and this is
Okay,
his job
so-
in Virginia.
So this all comes together. It's a domestic market, it's a global market, it's getting the order book, getting the supply chain built. And I'll make one more comment because there's much more we could say, but I'd be happy to follow up. And this is in my written testimony, and it's in a paper that we wrote at the Energy Futures Initiative in 2017. We are currently incapable of meeting, for the longer term, our national security requirements in the nuclear arena because we have no American origin technology deployed for enriching the uranium we need to make tritium for the nuclear deterrent or ultimately to make fuel for naval propulsion. So we need to take a holistic view of all of these needs if we are going to reassert our leading profile in the nuclear arena.
Chair recognizes Representative Tenney for 5 minutes.